too many things in life we take for granted. Tell ourselves little lies about to appease our conscience. Stupidities like, love is blind. That is some steaming horse shit. Love is not blind. Love might have nice eyes, but love ain't blind at all. Blind love only exists in bullshit Hollywood movies. Direct to video. The ones that you see on CTV at 2 a.m. in between ads for some miracle crock pots. Yeah. Love's eyes are not only alluring. Love only has eyes for the better looking. And the better looking are always sitting at the other table. It's always the same. It's like the poet said, if it's not one fucking thing, it's the other. It's all bullshit. Ball-licking bullshit. I mean, another. Love is ageless. Well, that might be true. But is sex ageless? Is there any truth to that? I mean, you're never too old for a good blowjob. I mean, a blowjob. Blowjob and the elderly go hand in hand. I mean, you're old, you're twisted with arthritis, your back is racked. Oh, nothing goes down like a good blowjob. But it can be a little trying on the knees. No. The only things that remain true are stories. Straight stories, true stories, like the one I'm going to tell you tonight. It happened Christmas Eve in Montreal a couple of years back. An elderly old gentleman and an elderly old lady in blind love. Or almost blind because of the cataracts. True blind love rides the number 10 bus every afternoon, de Lormier, to a synthesized soundtrack courtesy of a hearing aid, and no ex-starlet shilling some miracle crockpot to interrupt. No. Here we go. Tancredi, 5 foot something, skinny as a rail, was a simple man who had the shakes. He lived in an old age home, and of late was seen in the company of Rosaline, a lovely little old lady whose household smelled of gingerbread cookies and potpourri, and whose wig had a whiff of mothballs. On holidays, with her wig set in a perm, life was beautiful. Tancredi and Rosaline would sit side by side, or I should say rib to rib, skinny as they were, in Baldwin Park, and breathe in the air of youth, and hold their breath between wafts of pot drifting in from the teenagers. Medicinal wafts, if I may be so bold. They would hold their breath until dizzy, all the better to get high off until the next puff drifted by. They had met playing bingo on Pappy in the palpitation section. You know what the palpitation section is? It's for the overexcited, you know, with their, I'm gonna win, and the pressure builds up until their fragile hearts attack themselves and they have to be carried to the back. Like those who have had hands laid on by Pentecostal liars, that is where they met in the palpitation section, wearing their oxygen masks, eyeing each other glutinously, like two love-struck newborns, each in their own incubator. At first it was platonic. I mean, at their age, lust rarely rears its head. It's not recommended either. But there was no malaise, no stress. No come-ons, no moves to make, just a flabby calm, a flat calm. Flat as a plate of forbidden fruit, or maybe forbidden dried fruit. This went on for months, months strung together like prayer beads, 1 bead per month, until Tancredi went online. He joined a news group for sulphurous old boys. No, I say news group, but it was more than that. They had their own site. www.geezers.com. And it was there, for the first time in the intertwined world of the internet, Tancredi read of that steroid of the elderly, that miracle drug, Viagra. The little blue pill what puts lead in your pencil. Oh, and at that moment he had a vision of whisking Rosaline into a little corner and giving her a ride. I want to wake up with my dentures in your glass. But it's not as vulgar as say, Rosaline, Rosaline, let me bang you from behind. Moving on. using his Visa Golden Age card. He was embarrassed to image the statement at the end of the month, coffee at McDonald's, coffee at McDonald's, coffee at McDonald's, Viagra. But while waiting for his precious cargo, Tancredi worked at softening Rosaline up. A little allusion here, a little allusion there, only to realize that Rosaline was hot to trot. Willing. No dicking around. And funny, because maybe it was the idea of their fucking, Tancredi and Rosaline were suddenly like in love. Real love. Like big love. Like big like your dick gets. You know, like your balls when your pussy's just all... You know what I'm talking about, right? Seriously, you know what I'm saying. I mean, hot fucking sex. Imagine. Baldwin Park. A mild Indian summer Saturday night, two old folks necking like school kids in anticipation of the coming blue pills. Two old folks slowly replenishing their juices in anticipation of that night of night when it will just spray all over. Fountains of sex juice gushing to the heavens. I mean, they are so hot on their park bench that the teenagers are beginning to wonder if they didn't get ripped off on their pot, because they're not nearly as high as those two old folks are. Now, I don't need to tell you how slowly time passes when you're waiting for your candy. A month and a half. When it finally arrived, the package in the mail, Tancredi picked up the box and tore it open, only to discover that it was a free sample of Depends. One diaper with a picture of a smiling old fuck on it. Depends and always. It's always the same ad. Is it the same ad agency? I mean, are you supposed to really believe that it doesn't matter what you stick between your legs, it'll put a smile on your face? I mean, actually, if you think about it, it's true. That night at bingo, to get over the day's disappointment, Tancredi sat in the palpitation section, and time passed. But when the pills arrived, the morning of the 24th, beautiful December day, Tancredi phoned Rosaline. Rosaline, my love, tonight is the night. Put on that red dress and those little boots. Tancredi did his technique and Nadao exercises all afternoon. You know about the technique Nadao. You massage your organs, it gets the blood flowing. Rosaline, she was all dolled up. She smelled good. At 6:15, Tancredi poured himself a little gin. 7 o'clock, he popped the little blue pills. 7:30, Rosaline was stepping out into the sunlight of her building's overheated vestibule to a pre-recorded cantata of bird song singing on her speaker. She moved toward the taxi and tripped. 8:30, 9 o'clock. Tancredi telephoned. Rosaline's niece answered. Auntie's in hospital. She had slipped on a draft of air and fractured her hip. Very serious at her age. But Tancredi had a problem, because the pill had gone into his bloodstream. It was like an acid, making him weaker and weaker as all the blamed blood drained into his dick. Oh, Rosaline's mishap had brought him down, but his spirit was up. Oh, and he'd forgotten how big it was. You know, over the years, these things slip your mind. Wow. He stared at it, pulsating, like a subwoofer between his legs. Each heartbeat. At around 11 o'clock, it had to stop. Something had to be done. Everything was blue, and he wasn't sad. He was seeing blue. They say that can happen with Viagra. Literally seeing everything blue. Oh, blue like Rosaline's postcard. Rosaline. His love. At least she wasn't dead. That's what was important. He removed his wallet, slipped out a photo of Rosaline in a bathing suit when she was 16. She'd given it to him the night of their French kiss. He began to stroke. Oh, and he stroked and stroked and stopped to catch his breath. And stroked and stroked and stroked and stopped to catch his breath. Until 2 in the morning, he stroked and stroked and stroked. And finally, when he thought he was about to get off, he was right there, almost, almost, He is eternally clutching the joystick, or like a relay masturbator holding up the baton before the transfer. Yes, in the just repose of one who has done his job well, Tancredi passed away, and Rosaline never came out of hospital. This happened in the city, in my neck of the woods, where every moment is a story, and every smile is an adventure. And the one thing in life that you can take for granted is a good story, a true story. Because when the tale is told, the tale teller always tells it knowing how it ends. And when the tale ends, life begins. Life or love.